If you love people photography and thinking of covering a wedding, you want to see this video to the end and why it will make a special impact on your photography in general, never mind just wedding photography. My name is Anthony Lawrence, and I've been a photographer for over 30 years. For a number of years, I was a certified professional photographer. I taught photography at a local college, and in 2010, I wrote a book on photography. And although technology has progressed, the basics are still the same. With all this experience, I am confident that even seasoned photographers will pick up a few pointers in each session. Now, let's get started. I picked this topic because thus far I've covered all the elements that will allow you to capture the images needed for great coverage. In the first video, I got you some ideas on how to recognize a natural pose. In the second video, I covered how you can easily pose the male. In the third, I gave you a bunch of hints on posing the female. Next, I covered all the important basics of couple posing, followed by the nuances of a family photography. Then a video on the many choices you have relating to group photography. Another is a video on a very crucial table photography. And of course, a video on silent partner and how important it is. The latter. These are the basic things you need to successfully capture images of any event. But I decided to do it with the wedding photography. That's how I set it all up like that. I cover all these elements plus more in my book, which is a great reference. But to be sure, videos show just a little bit more because I'm able to verbalize. Hopefully you've noticed how all these pieces are falling into place, providing a practical application that will allow you to take your photography to the next level of capturing the world around you and thereby giving you a joy that this hobby provides. And in this particular case, even more so, because you can cover a very important part of somebody's life, which is the wedding. Now, this particular video gives you a macro view of the wedding photography. No theory, just practical elements that will help you start you on the way to become an expert and help you to stay that way. I'll share with you what is needed to capture the entire wedding. I'll cover all the parts of the entire day in the next video, which are wedding preparations of the bride and groom, the ceremony, formals, and a reception. Many of today's photographers started out as wedding photographers without planning to do so. Oftentimes, a friend asked them, "Hey, check some pictures." Others, seeing the good results, would ask for the same. Next thing you know, they're doing it and being paid for it. To be sure, this is a bit oversimplified, but not totally out of the question. No one, however, will ask you to capture such precious moments of their life unless they have some confidence in your abilities to deliver. Will you be successful on a first try? Well, that depends on how confident you are in your abilities and how familiar you are with the wedding process. This video and the next 4 will prepare you for successful wedding photography, providing minimum ground rules and guidance for overall view of what is expected. If you wish to become more proficient, become an apprentice to a professional who knows what they're doing and be wise in choosing one. By the way, you have to be well versed in classical as well as photojournalistic wedding photography. And yes, there is a difference between the two. The classical being the more elegant, and it is making comeback. In essence, classical means a more hands-on, presenting a more elegant rendition of the wedding. Photojournalistic approach is being able to recognize the elegant nuances of a natural behavior of the participants and capture them with minimum of intervention. Of course, candid is capturing whatever you think is worthy of your shutter click. And yes, in doing so, you may capture the other two. Should you accept invitation to cover a friend's wedding, be prepared to forego any guest-like activities. Once you say yes, your primary responsibility is to make sure that the bride and groom have the best possible selection of pictures to choose from for an album that will last them into the future. This is a serious undertaking and cannot be taken lightly. If you have any doubt, take the high road and decline, while at the same time advise the couple to hire a professional who is well versed in all the elements of wedding photography. Let's assume you're up to the task in terms of your ability and confidence. The next item you need to consider is the equipment. You need to have gear that can stand up to the rigors of continuous shooting, because little things like a cheap flash unit overheating and shutting off on you can have at minimum an embarrassing consequence, or at worst, you miss some key shots. Know the limits and capabilities of all your equipment in case someone knocks the camera off from your hands and it's damaged to the point where it's no longer usable. What backup equipment do you have? How familiar you are with the backup camera? You need to be able to pick up your backup camera and shoot without missing a beat. There is just no time to try and figure out controls in time when you're under pressure. Bottom line, have backup gear in image and critical, and make sure you really are able to use it when needed. By the way, many of today's brides want non-traditional weddings. Exactly what is that? Well, if a bride puts on a white gown, there is an exchange of vows and rings, followed by a reception. For guests, you have a traditional wedding. The mere fact that the vows and the rings are exchanged while falling out of the airplane or underwater, at best it's a mere formality, and at worst it's a fad. That means that most weddings are divided into three categories: preparation, ceremony, reception. Many have a fourth category, and that is the formal pictures of the family. Bridal party, bride and groom. This is where many of today's digital photographers, unfortunately, have their problems because they just don't know what to do. So they promote themselves as photojournalists when in fact they're just candid shooters. Once you master the art of light and posing, you can then be whatever you want. But otherwise, you're just hoping for the best. In a typical wedding, the three categories consist of a smaller subcategories. The suggestions given are only the minimum of what you should consider. Use your judgment and creativity to enlarge the repertoire of your images as needed. Let's start with the equipment though. Can you cover a wedding with a cell camera? One word answer is yes. Should you do it? Another one word answer is no. Why? Everyone does it with the phone. You're above this gallery of people and must have at least a professional looking camera. Otherwise, you will not be taken seriously. In fact, you should have two identical cameras so you can just grab it and carry on. Remember Murphy's Law. If something can go wrong, it will. Be prepared to handle any surprise that comes up at you. I recommend a camera that has two memory cards so your images are saved on both, because even cards can go bad. I know because it happened to me. Same goes for the lights. Yes, you can use video lights, but don't leave those for the video crew, as flash is better choice and guests will not squint for the flash, but will for the video lights. You capture a moment, whereas they capture a whole scene. And expressions are also very important. You must be there for them. Have as few bags as possible and keep rearranging them and all the items in there as many times as you need to until you're happy with the system that works for you. Have a good ladder. as described in my previous video. Check it out. It's worth it. The best hint I can give you is have a hard copy list of your shots. Nothing fancy. Group them into 4 categories: home, ceremony, park, reception. Now, I know that currently the cell phone is the go-to answer, but don't, because looking at it in the middle of a shoot, whether in a church, at home, park, or wherever, it will look like you're checking messages, and you will kill your credibility fast. While, interestingly enough, no one will particularly notice you're looking at a piece of paper. The great thing about grouping is that you only need to carry a small number of these cards to each of the 4 places, such as the bride's house, same thing at the ceremony, park, or the venue. Have a few extra blank sheets as well to use to jot down any ideas for the future. As you're learning from others and you see their style of capturing the wedding, think about how you would like to do it. But start simple. Keep lights, cameras, and gear to minimum. Once you are at ease with the flow, then you can add all the gear you want to and experiment all to your card's content. Now, the next video will give you a view as to what to do when you get to the bride's house and how to capture and prep her family. And of course, we cannot forget the groom. Looking forward.